Hi everyone. I hope that everyone is doing amazing today. I surely am. So I actually came on here to share something with you guys. Okay, so when I actually signed up to go into the military, I think I was probably like 17. A little bit before I turned 18. You guys know I grew up in foster care. And yeah, Army recruiter ended up coming up to our school, and my best friend was talking to him, and she got sucked in, and I kind of got sucked in, and so yeah. So anywho, I end up leaving out for basic training after high school, and if anybody's gone through the military basic training, you know you get like a ton of shots, and if you still need vaccinations, you get those. But I remember during one of the, because it was like, I felt like it was a line. We laugh about that sometimes, but you feel like it's a line, like it's this shot, this shot. But I recall during one of the introductions or whatever, speaking about the shot and giving us descriptions. I don't remember what it was. I just remember them saying, like, for the ladies, you want to be careful getting pregnant within the next 2 or 3 years, because your child will have a high possibility of having genetic disorders and blah blah blah, right? And the only reason why I really remember that is because, like I said, I was 19. I was like, I'm not having no kids, so I'm 25. Well, I was 25, like the magic number then, right? Everything was going to happen at 25. So I remember brushing it off like, oh, I'm good. You know, even making a joke about it, like, I'm good. Well, a little about, within that time before it ended, so about 2.5 years later, guess who ends up pregnant? And guess whose baby ended up missing an X chromosome, so many genetic disorders. I end up being induced at 5 months because I went to my checkup. They couldn't find a heartbeat. So they had to induce my labor, and I was in labor for 13 hours, and I gave birth to my stillborn daughter. And, you know, during my pregnancy, I was in and out the hospital, in and out doctor's appointments, for them always to check. So, of course, they did genetic testing, and everything was like, well, you're so healthy. We don't understand why this happened. It's such a fluke, right? Nobody thought about anything related to the warning, the shots, and this years later. So who thinks about it? I didn't think about it until I did, because it was just one of the things like, what happened? Like, this should have not happened. There's no, even according to the doctors, like, there was just no reason. It just was a fluke. So then I started talking to, then I started going back and thinking about different women that I knew that had gone through basic training with me, especially the black women, and the percentage of how many of those women lost babies or had babies that had genetic disorders within that same time frame was astounding. And it was during all of this, probably a little bit before I started considering it, which is why I started talking to people. It was like, wow, okay, so this could be a very huge dynamic of why I lost my child. Like, this is probably why I lost my child. So, of course, I tried to go, I was out the military by this time, so, of course, I tried to file a claim for loss of child. But yeah, if you've been in the military and have tried to file a claim for anything, you know how difficult that is. And I got declined. I think my claim got denied like 2 or 3 times because you need proof for stuff, right? Where's the proof? It was hard as hell to get my medical records, and it was just ridiculous because, like, we don't know. There's no way to prove that that's what happened. So another thing that happened as well, in that time frame, or after, the time gets modeled, being in the military, when they started giving out the flu vaccinations, we had to have it. It was mandatory. Now, my health is pretty amazing. Never been a sick person for real. I don't get sick, thankfully. Every once in a while, I get like a summer cold where it's like my body, I can feel myself getting sick. I'll probably sleep the day away, and then the next day I'm good. Or I might get like the sniffles, or feel myself getting a sore throat, something like that. It usually lasts like a day or two. Well, it was mandatory for us to get the flu vaccination, and I couldn't fight it. I just did it. Yeah, that entire year, I was the sickest I've ever been. Like, in and out the hospital sick, stayed in the hospital. I have never, ever been that sick in my life. Like, that entire year, I was sick. Oh, my gosh. That next year, when they told us we had to get the flu vaccine, I was like, nah, son. And they was like, well, we can put you out. I did not get it. I skated through underneath the radar, which was different for me because me and my mouth. And then I was close to getting out anyway, so I end up ETSing out without getting the flu vaccination, and I do not get the flu vaccine. So when you hear all of these stories about vaccinations being safe, I don't buy them. And unfortunately, like with most cases that go to the vaccine injury group for compensation, it's hard as hell to prove that that's where the injuries or that's where the diseases or something occur, especially because sometimes the effects are immediate and sometimes they linger. And the more I have begun to evolve and the more I read, and my genre of reading has taken different forms, and I start reading about the chemistry of melanin. I've been showing you guys this. This is what I'm reading right now, but I'm pretty sure you can find multiple books on melanin and our chemistry and our compounds. Like, the shit is not meant for us. I don't care. For me, personally, they can't preach me into why it's good for us, especially when you start doing the studies and start seeing how Black people are affected the most by vaccinations, and our chemistry just is not our makeup is not built for us to be having all these outside chemicals, all these poisons and stuff injected into us. Everything is chemistry. Everything is biology. You put something in your body, is going to have a chemical reaction, period. Whether it's food, medication, whatever it is, everything has a chemical compound. Everything has energy. You put that on your body and in your body, you're going to have a reaction. The type of reaction, it could be complementary, it could be volatile. I guess time tells. But I'm at a place where I'm unwilling to gamble my life, my health, especially the 2 times that I did have reactions. One of them literally cost me my life, because when I lost my daughter, I was this close to committing suicide. It was just too much at the time. The life that I had lived, all the things that I had been through, giving birth to my stillborn daughter, broke me in many ways. Thankfully, over the years, I was able to rebuild in ways that I would have never known. Like, I definitely contribute the woman, partially a lot, the woman that I am, the ways that I think and how I've elevated to being pregnant with my daughter, losing my daughter. It was just valuable lessons in that. And today I can say that because it has happened, I am thankful that I didn't become a mom at that time. I'm so much more knowledgeable now, but it doesn't negate that at that time, that shit destroyed me. And to come to find out, understand later that it was most likely due to a vaccination, a shot, yeah, and not be able to prove it, and so nobody's held accountable. There are hundreds and thousands of stories like mine that nobody's ever made accountable, because how do you prove it? How do you prove it? And unfortunately, nobody knows the lasting effects of anything, which is why now, years later, you have compensation commercials both for birth control, Johnson & Johnson's baby powder. So, like, all these different chemicals, I'm not allowing anybody to inject me. So that's why I am definitely against vaccinations. But to each their own. I just tell my story as I always do. I'm not trying to influence anybody one way or another. Do what you feel like you need to do for you. But for Nikki J, it's no. I love you guys. As always, I'm wishing love, light, peace, happiness, and joy to everyone. Be good.